Real quick, before we start, we just wanted to say that we are in the process of revamping the Patreon, and one of the current plans is to put the most of or the entirety of the current season on Patreon to watch. We will still continue to release things, or we still plan to release things weekly, an episode a week, but if you want to watch more, or hopefully the whole thing, if I can get it all edited, you can patron and head over there and watch it along with us.
Yay!
So...
I wanna do real bad things with you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching True Blood, Season 2, Episode 12.
Beyond Here Lies Nothin.
I remember this title. I love this title. I don't know that I fully get it.
Sort of just...
Yeah. This is 2 episodes. I
Sort of, yeah.
really like the first part. I remember so little of it.
Yeah.
Like, I remembered liking Maryann. I think that they do a good job of sticking the landing.
So, yeah, my feelings about Maryann go like this.
You don't like the end?
No, I think it's not. I don't like to do this. We both don't like to do this. I think it's Michelle Forbes.
I was literally coming to be like, you really shaded Michelle Forbes early on, and I think she's great in this episode. I love it.
Maybe I just hate the character in this episode then.
We can disagree. It doesn't happen a ton. We can disagree. What's your...
don't. It's so... She gets so schmoopy in a way that, like, really weirds me out. She also gets, for being someone who actually, like, has managed to take over an entire town, she gets so dumb in this. Like, she doesn't sniff 1 ounce of, like, a plan from anyone.
So I perceive it differently. I like that she's a cult leader has gotten lost in her own cult.
Okay.
I think it's kind of fascinating that she sort of, because Sophie-Anne touches on it, but she's lost all touch with reality.
Sure.
So she's sort of like a demigod type, like she's powerful.
She's like,
but she has no grasp on reality.
Yeah. Okay.
And I find that kind of fascinating.
Sure.
Because we always think of gods as being powerful and B, having vision. Like
and
having
like in control.
And can see the forest for the trees. Right. And so there's something about how pathetic that she's so wholly like it's like she's done this for so long that she's forgotten how it started.
Sure.
And she just buys into it. I find that fascinating. And I think it's misplaced as the second season arc.
Yeah.
I'm going to compare it. I consider this a mild spoiler for Dexter. It's not like a shocking reveal or whatever, but season 2 of Dexter is about them stumbling upon his graveyard where he was burying the bodies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's too soon for that plot line.
Okay. I totally agree because it's like, so at some point we will do season 3 and we'll continue doing True Blood, but like, spoiler alert for season 3, it's the werewolves. And like, how on earth you introduce a maenad before you introduce werewolves is beyond me.
We were just talking about with Stranger Things, where it's like season 1 is a monster, season 2 is a lot of monsters, season 3 is a big monster, season 4 is and so it's like to go from like vampires to like a demigod absorbing a town, and then to go back to like, oh, but there's hillbilly werewolves. They
even didn't do that on Buffy. Even on Buffy the Goddess season 5.
Yeah, it's too, and it sets a precedent that the show sort of coasts through.
Sure.
And because I think so many of the day players are doing fucking Jane Bodenhouse.
I love her.
Is amazing in this season. She and just the weird mythos the show builds around Bon Top. And so in that regard, I mean, it's kind of nice to build out the town in season 2.
I mean, yeah, but that could have happened concurrently with the werewolves as well.
Yeah, it just sort of, because I love the scene where Maryann has Sookie come and she's like getting prepared for her wedding.
Yeah.
X, let me go!
Fight it. Just let it take you.
There's enough time being taken recently.
Shush, you haven't been taken, just borrowed. To go along with old, new, and blue over here.
Which one am I?
I love it.
In Gran's exquisite wedding dress, which does not survive the night.
many things don't survive the night. And Sookie is just sort of like,
You're in my house, and those are my friends. Plus, Jane Boathouse.
I've always liked you, Sookie. You give me extra pickles.
like, where did that come from? And because you're right, she's been there from the beginning, but on the periphery. Like, we've spent time with other, like,
she's like around. She hangs out at the bar. She's
but it's like we
there.
never see Randy Sue again. Like, we never, I mean, I guess they kill most of the people that we spend any time with, but no, I think it's very funny. And I like the grandeur of the season, of the plot, the way they trash the house, the I don't know, I think it's a very ambitious storyline. And even the way that they ultimately defeat her with Sam turning into the bull, that thing is a beast of an animal.
Yeah.
And how it just sort of tricks her. And then she turns into that weird corpse. I don't know. I'm really into that whole part.
Yeah, and then there's like easily 25 minutes of like cleaning up and wrapping up, and like we spend a lot of finale real estate on Arlene apologizing to her kids.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
No, I don't hate it, and I like Kobe and Lisa. The like kids who play them are really good. I also love that they're like, when you were gone, did you see Renee? And she's like, no, he's still on vacation. And then she leaves and the kids are like, yeah, he's dead. I'm like pretty sure he's dead.
Also, and I remember this because I was editing the first episode, but those two gossiping women, they established them in the first episode and they bookend in this one.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that the aliens erase people's memories. Just adds up. I heard that Maryann Forrester was an agent of the pharmaceutical companies and the liberal media.
They're thinking aliens or something.
Or the liberal media putting LSD in.
Which is why they stick to lukewarm Mountain Dew, which Sam has put in a pitcher.
Refill.
Please.
It's like he's already put Mountain Dew in a pitcher, so it's warm and it's flat.
It's what they deserve.
Well, of course it's what they deserve, but like as a restaurant owner, that doesn't feel smart to like decant Mountain Dew.
Andy gets sort of his not comeuppance, the opposite of comeuppance.
He gets his groove back.
Sure. He gets reinstated and he's sort of like earned his position back.
Yeah.
Although he's real butthurt. I do love the scene with him and Jason where he's sort of like, what's the point in being a hero if no one knows you're a hero?
Yeah.
Which we know better than to say that out loud, but it do be like that.
To which also Jason responds, well, if a tree falls in the forest, it's still a tree.
And I was very...
Have I been living with him for too long, or did that all just make sense?
He's not wrong.
That is entirely true. We get another Sophie-Anne scene where Eric is there, and all it really accomplishes is that she's the one having Eric sell vampire blood.
Yeah.
And they treat it like it's this like really scandalous plot, and I'm like,
it is. I mean,
it's scandal, but I'm like, clearly she's like, it's like not research, but it's like they're like,
but if like the VRA or whatever found out, she'd be in big trouble.
But I'm like, she's doing it for a reason. Like,
I think it's just money.
Oh, is it really?
I think so.
I somehow feel I felt like she was like keeping tabs on people or something.
I mean, maybe, but if they drink her blood, oh yeah, I guess she can. But like, why would she want to keep tabs on a bunch of drug dealers?
I thought it was like, I thought it was more akin to like a census, like so, like just to see who was.
I don't know. I think it's just for the money.
Okay, well then, sure.
Well, her whole thing, it's actually hilarious in the books because she's at the house when the bomb goes off in Dallas and it blows off her legs, but she survives and then grows back little baby legs. So she's sort of incapacitated for a time, and it's hilarious.
I remember my mom told me about that because Sookie kept wanting to like peek at her legs.
Yeah. It's funny.
I did know that. But
also, it's something that obviously the show's so different it wouldn't have managed, it wouldn't have worked, but Elvis exists as a vampire in it, but he doesn't know his name because he like was on so many drugs when he got turned, and so they just call him like Buddy or Buster or something, and like if he hears the name Elvis, he kind of goes crazy. He like protects Sookie sometimes. It's hilarious.
It sounds like an entirely different.
It's way different. It's a little. I wanted to say soapier. They're more like romance novels.
I remember Charlene Harris is actually a big fan of the show.
Yeah.
Because she was like, it's just sort of like really well done fan fiction.
Yeah.
And so she was like, I kind of like that because I can just watch my own show and not know what's happening.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
very
that's
cool.
a really good energy to bring to this sort of thing.
Not like the other vampire lady.
Sometimes it's our life's work. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like I need to keep going because it's the culmination of the season and we put a lot of, stuff into it. But I really don't have a whole ton to say.
Well, Jason and Andy go in guns blazing and immediately get taken and their eyes turn black. That's pretty funny.
I was moving on.
Oh, you were completely on. I was just trying to think of things that were interesting. There was also another button put on Hadley because the queen says that Bill's in love with Sookie, and she's like, oh, he is? And then she, like, glares daggers at her.
You know, I think he's monogamous with his human.
He is in love with her, yes.
He is?
And she tells Eric never, ever, ever to drink from Sookie.
Because she knows that they all know that Sookie is something, but they
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
She's not entirely human. Have you tasted her?
Sadly, no.
Don't. Ever. One vampire falling in love is bad enough.
But no, like I already said, they defeated Maryann, so
Yeah.
I was moving on. I remember feeling like I didn't remember how Egg's story ended. I remember feeling weird about it.
Yeah.
Watching it a second time, I truly hate this.
Yeah, me too.
Like aggressively hate
Well,
it.
it's like, it's senseless.
Like three ways
for
over.
the character, it's senseless for Andy. It's senseless for Tara because she doesn't need this.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It just, I just would have rather him been like, I can't handle this anymore. I'm moving to France.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it makes as much sense.
My name's already Benedict. It works.
Yeah, it's really awful, and it's because it's one thing if you end up in
it's also awful for Jason.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's one thing if you end up in this like really like terrible cliche thing. It's another thing to get to the end of your story and then be like, oh shit, and steer it into like
Yeah.
There's no reason for him to be attacking. Well, there's really no he's the only one that's as upset as he is by this.
So, in my opinion, there's no reason for him to even want to know what happened.
And he's presumably
he's not the only one with blood on him that night.
And he's presumably just hanging out in the parking lot of Merlotte's because he doesn't have a home. So he just sort of keeps accosting people in the parking lot.
Oh my god, you scared me half to death.
And the implication, which would earn this story a bit more, the implication for me at least was that he's been with Maryann for a while.
Yeah.
And the way it's presented in his like mind scene with Sookie is that this was his first day on the job. Like Aisha Hines, Jeanette was the first one, and he's killed 3 people.
So it's been like 3 weeks.
I'm not trying to say that that's nothing, but a lot of people did a lot of shit.
I got a right to know.
Are you sure? Because Maryann made a lot of people do a lot of things they wouldn't ordinarily do.
Yeah, well, and the other thing, too, it's like, in the first place, both Sookie and Tara have been like, you don't need to remember, like, Tara even is like, Sookie made me remember some stuff that I wish I didn't know. Just live in your ignorance. And he's like trying to wash his hands all crazy because they're covered in Sam's blood.
It's like the opposite, because normally the person's like, that wasn't me. It was my body, but that wasn't me. And everyone else is mad at him. But in this...
Yeah. But the thing that stuck out to me is he's washing his hands and he's like having a really hard time. And then he looks down at his hands that are still covered in blood and says, "There's blood under my fingernails." And I'm like, yeah, and everywhere else too. But regardless, so he makes Sookie give him back his memories, and then she is like, that wasn't you. You had no free will. Maryann made you do that. It's not your fault. And he's like, no, I killed them. I killed 3 people. I murdered them. And I stabbed Sam. And it's just
so then he
sort of
confesses to Andy.
But so aggressively.
By running at him with a
knife.
Blade.
Listen, I'm a killer. I'm a murderer. I murdered innocent people.
Like, it's like not a kitchen knife. It's like a sacrificial.
It's like a, yeah.
And he's like, don't you understand? I murdered these people. And it's awful and stupid.
And like, I'm a murderer. This is the murder weapon. And he basically like makes Andy fall on the ground. And then Jason, he's like still trying to be like, hey, it's okay. Like, we'll take you like to the station or whatever. But it's just like if you just want, again, to your point, if you just wanted to get rid of Makad Brooks and not have him hanging around after this, then like send him away.
Which is not correct.
But it's also not correct because Tara doesn't deserve this. And it's at this point, this is officially the point for me where Tara becomes the show's punching bag and there's no turning back for her.
It's just
character-wise.
gross.
It's mean.
And that's sort of what I mean, where it's like, considering that like so often like characters of color get treated this way, it's one thing if the story sort of just ended up there.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. It's another thing to like grab the reins and steer it there.
No, 100%, because I almost feel like they're trying to make her into like a foil for Sookie. Like, look, these 2 women both get equal tragedies dumped on them and they handle them differently. But the difference is that Sookie still believes in the goodness of humanity and Tara is already down deep in a hole. And she doesn't need all this extra tragedy.
And also, we never really touched on it, and I don't recall that the show ever makes much of a to-do over it, but it's like, it's Tara's fault that Maryann's there in the first place.
Oh, yeah, she like summoned her somehow.
Which I find that part fascinating, but the show doesn't spend any time on it.
Like, we don't know how or why she did such a thing.
Because...
Oh, it was with Miss Jeanette.
No, I know, but it's like the notion that you can tap into... The Magicians...
Accidentally.
Yeah, the Magicians covers it much, much better, but it's like, it's why you shouldn't...
They are also tapping into that on purpose in the Magicians.
Yeah, but it's like why you shouldn't play with things you don't understand because you don't know. It's like, I mean, as a child, I was not allowed to play with Ouija boards.
Yeah.
My mom was like, no, you have no idea what you're, dealing with.
I still don't really want to. Yeah.
They don't work when I'm around.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I've been at parties and I make fun of it too much and it stops working when I'm in the room. So,
I love it.
No. I don't know. I hate it. I'm probably going to just ignore it, but you're right. We're still going to have Tara.
It's like, because I think it's not till season 4 that it gets really dark for Tara.
I remember they had an opportunity to just sort of write her off.
And they don't.
And then they make it worse. It feels deliberate.
Yeah. It's a bad, long, slow character assassination, and it's not great.
Hoyt and Maxine, it's all actually pretty good material.
Yeah.
He figures out, he figures out that she was telling the truth and
about his dad and everything.
And he storms out and chooses Jessica. She's like cruising truck stops. I don't remember how far it goes. I feel like not very.
I don't think very far, but she tells Bill that she's going to see Hoyt and apologize because they got in a fight. And then we just catch up with her making out with like a 40-year-old trucker. You would have, I know she is a vampire now, but it still has only been like maybe 2 months. And I just feel like Jessica, the girl Jessica, would be like, ew.
I mean.
No, before we go any further, there's some young new. Virgin.
Oh, yeah? That's okay. I'll be gentle with you.
17-year-old me would have probably fucked that guy, so.
I don't know. Regardless, it's sort of funny because she basically is like, before he grabs a condom from his like visor or whatever, and she's like, before we go any further, I need to tell you something. It's that I'm a virgin. And he's like, oh yeah, I like that. And then does she kill him? She definitely bites him. Who knows? They don't have sex.
And then Bill takes Sookie out. It's terrible. He buys her this actually beautiful dress.
I have that lavender colored dress. I almost put it on, but I was like, I don't care that much.
And he has it delivered by this excellent day player who earned her check.
Oh my God, she did.
Hi. Sookie Stackhouse. I'm Autumn from Maison Maribel Rustin. Special delivery for you. Lucky girl. You got one classy admirer. I'm Autumn.
I was like, oh, this character. And I was like, oh, no, we never see her again.
Whoever your boyfriend is has great taste.
And then he takes her to this French restaurant. He rents out the restaurant, which already you and me were both like, ugh.
Also, he tells Jessica he hasn't been to a French restaurant in 70 years. And in addition to that, he knows that humans love them.
But he says it like it's like, for whatever reason, like for... And I literally said, I was like, well, the French invented cuisine.
Yeah.
Like, the first cookbook ever was French.
Yeah.
And also, you're in Louisiana.
Yeah, there's like...
Up to here with French culture.
Probably so much. I just like... I don't know.
And so he rents out the whole restaurant. Ugh. And then is like...
okay, no, that's better than it being full of people.
You think?
For a proposal?
Oh, sure. I don't know. It would make me uncomfortable.
Well, it would make me uncomfortable being in a restaurant totally, like, alone with him. But it would make me more uncomfortable being in a full restaurant and getting proposed to.
Sure,
I can't imagine a fresher hell than getting proposed to in public.
But then he prefaces it as she's so beautiful that he refuses to share.
This side of you is not something I wish to share with others tonight.
Oh, Bill.
And that's terrible.
Yeah.
Because if anything, it should be the opposite.
Well,
I would be like, I want people to see
it doesn't
you
matter.
with me.
Both ways are disgusting because he's taking ownership over her body.
He's parading her.
Like,
I don't know. It's that thing that we talk about where it's like some people are weird about like some men or people are weird about height differences, especially like a short guy with a tall girlfriend.
and they're about the same height.
And I'm like, wouldn't that be like a status symbol though?
Yeah.
Like I would sort of love that.
Yeah.
If I had these elfin beauties towering over. I don't know. It just sort of I hate that he goes through all of this to then be covetous of her. It's weird.
So gross.
It's very
So he like surprises her with
that he just stares and watches her eat.
That's the other thing because he doesn't eat human food. So he's just staring at her while she eats presumably a minimum of 4 courses. A minimum. Plus wine. And then he presents her with plane tickets to Vermont and a ring because I think we already touched on it, but Vermont has legalized vampire marriage. And she has a full ass breakdown. She's like, I don't even know.
Warranted. Rightfully so.
Relatable. But she basically is like...
You were like the culmination of the two most traumatic months of your life.
And he's like, yes, a proposal will top this off nicely, like the cherry on a shit sundae. And she's just like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I am. I don't know if I'm human. Like all of this stuff. And he's like, so are you saying no? And he blessedly doesn't like pitch an actual fit. He has like a little bit of a tone.
If he had time to, he probably would have.
But she basically is like, it's not a no, but I just like, I can't say yes right now. And
she excuses herself to the bathroom.
Yeah. It's also, it has been a day since her house was destroyed. A day. And so she goes to the bathroom and then she's sort of like thinking about it and she puts the ring on and she's like, ooh. And
yes,
then
Bill Compton,
and then
1,000 times yes.
And then she runs out and he's gone. He's been taken with a silver chain.
I don't remember what it is, but isn't it
the werewolves.
Stupid? Okay, I don't.
Yeah.
Spoiler. I was going to say, isn't it like Eric or something? And in the very next...
Maybe.
I think it's one of those True Blood does really good cliffhangers.
Yeah.
And for every, like, 2 really good cliffhangers, there's, like, a stupid misdirect, and I think it's a stupid misdirect.
Okay, could be.
I don't remember, though.
At one point, he is in a barn.
Bill?
He's, like, chained up in a barn in season 2. Yeah.
3.
Or 3, yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Russell Edgington is season 3, right?
I think that's where he's introduced. That's not where his story ends.
No, he's in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But I think he's introduced in season... Talbot is in season 3.
Yeah. Well, because the...
and Marnie is season 4.
The wolves are from Mississippi, and he's the king of Mississippi.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like... I like Russell Edgington, but I feel like I don't love the rest of 3.
No. They killed my cooter.
We may or may not. Well, now we got to.
We're going to. We're definitely going to watch this space. We're not sure when yet. We're trying to kind of get into a cycle of like seasons of TV. We've got a couple more season 1s coming.
We're still going to cover like new shows and we're still going to cover movies, but we're sort of liking this.
Yeah.
So we'll see where this goes.
We've got.
Let us know. Like.
Well, we've got some exciting things coming up. In no particular order, we're gonna revisit season 1 of Lost, season 1 of Desperate Housewives, season 1 of Once Upon a Time, and there was a 4th one that you mentioned.
Pushing Daisies.
Pushing Daisies. So. We're coming at you with all of your favorite shows from the beginning of the century.
From 2009.
Yes.
It's going to be 2011 up in this bitch.
I can't wait.
So, okay. Well, on that note, like and subscribe. Let us know what you think or what you want, and maybe we'll read it.
I mean, we'll definitely read it. We may or may not like it.
And, yeah. So, beyond here lies nothing.
Bye. Nothing with an apostrophe.
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.